We're getting ready now for another session about artificial intelligence. We talked about the cost of AI, all right? We touched upon this topic several times already. Now I will welcome back Dr. Imad Syed to discuss about the principles of ethical AI. Let's see if we can distill some pillars and some considerations that every organization should take into consideration when embarking in AI. Welcome back, Dr. Imad. How's
How
it going?
you? Thank you. How
Very
has
good.
been the feedback so far?
Very good. Very good. And we have a great topic ahead of us, a great fireside chat. Something
Yeah,
that everyone is definitely interested about because
yeah,
when we're talking about AI, there is excitement as well as concerns.
yeah.
That's why we're talking about the very principles of adopting
Right,
AI ethically. So let us
right, right.
begin. What are these principles?
See, first of all, Pio, AI is something that is evolving. So we need to build the trust around that. And unless we have some of the ethical practices, we'll not be able to build the trust. Because if you really want to have trust, been by the customers, by the stakeholders, by the organizations, whoever it is, even the users, you definitely need, you know, that ethical practices. And I just would like to give you a couple of examples of it. If you don't
Hmm.
follow the right ethics or ethical models, what could happen? Don't want to name the company, but it is one of the top five companies in the world, that talks about technology and that. They have drained down tens of millions of dollars, building a model for AI hiring because they said,
Mm.
okay, that's a nice way to do it, and we can get rid of all the other biasness because people come with different perceptions and different backgrounds and biasness. They build a model, but again, they could not differentiate. They could not give the right rating and weightage to the ethnics, to
Mm.
the gender equality, to the pay scale, to the demographics of it, to the caste, to the creed of it, and they had to stop that model because they felt that if we go ahead with this model, probably it's not ethical. So not having the ethics in place when you are building AI models can not only just let your resources drain down, but also your reputation. And that's why today the top companies who are building these AI models, they have at least put down some frameworks around how you would like to have the ethics practiced and what are the principles. There are several principles. First thing is that, like I said, uh, trust.
Yeah.
That is one of the principles. Now for the trust, I would like to take also the help of Gartner came up with a great stuff which is called TRISM.
Mhm.
TRISM. Trust, risk, RI, and security management. That is nothing but really a great framework wherein you can put down your models and evaluate whether this is trustworthiness, what is the trustworthiness of it, what is the risk factor of it, and what is the security management around that, and all of that. So I'm sure a lot of organizations would start practicing it, but like I said, it is evolving. And then with trust, transparency. If you are not transparent enough, you do not tell from where have you taken the data, what exactly is the outcome that you would like to achieve, what are the objectives of this particular purpose, then absolutely you will not buy, you will not have a greater buy-in. So that's another principle that I would say that very very important. And then, like any organization, when you are building a model, you need to own it, whether
Yeah.
the good comes out or bad comes out. You need to own it. If you do not own it, if you do not take the accountability of it, then absolutely of no use because your reputation, you are going to have reputational damages. And ultimately, I mean, there are several principles, but ultimately, we all are human beings. if it is not built for the empowerment of the human being by keeping two factors, which is, equality and fairness.
Mm.
Because you cannot give the technology to one category of people and not let it be used by others, that you cannot. So you need to balance between equality as well as the fairness. That's the important thing, because we might have privilege to use certain features whereas others might not. And that's something, that is absolutely against the ethics, because we as human beings have got right to utilize whatever the model it is, absolutely without any biasness. So that's one side of it.
Yeah.
Then the other side of it, PO, is privacy. Who doesn't want privacy? Eh? And why the GDPR today, and everybody, many people are afraid of this GDPR. It's good. The reason is that it is protecting. They are little bit scared. They are little bit concerned about it. And again, regulations are not there to kill the innovation. Regulations are not there not to scale down the technology. Regulations are there to regulate. That's the so privacy of the data is important. What kind of data, from where are you acquiring the data, and whose data is it? Is it really a copyright content? What is it? And
Yeah.
obviously, hand in hand with privacy goes security. Who is being exposed to? And this data is being exposed to whom? Is it being exposed to several people? Do they have authorization? Do they really need it? So these are some of the basic principles of it. If you do not have this, and ultimately any model, any AI application that you build, if it is not sustainable, when I say sustainability, I look from the what you say, ESG perspective, environment
Uh-huh.
perspective, okay, safety perspective, governance perspective. If it is not sustainable and it is not eco-friendly, it is not environment friendly, then again, it is also against the ethics of AI. So
True.
ethics principles are great, but again, like I said to you, it takes little bit of time for everybody to bring in these ethical practices into their organization, bring in frameworks that can help them mitigate all these risks.
Yeah, and AI is still AI adoption is still in its infancy, indeed. So we're
Absolutely,
just at the
absolutely.
beginning. We have a
Yeah.
question here from Joanna. Do you have any framework you personally recommend to be used when implementing AI governance in the company?
uh, See, at this point in time, the research that is coming out is from McKinsey, it is from Gartner,
Yeah.
and I have looked at the framework of Gartner's TRISM, TRISM, and which is a great framework. I think it will evolve over a period of time, but that is the framework that I would suggest that at this point in time, it is evolving, but it is still, it is good to go. So probably that is something that we can definitely use. And Pio, you actually took really the right word there, right term there, which is AI governance. You know, AI data governance we have been talking about, but if you now look at the AI governance, majority of the governance is on the data of it rather than on the models.
Mm.
Models, yes, there is a governance on the models. Who has reviewed it? What kind of data it is consuming. But if you look at it, the foundation is again going back to the data governance. If you have the right data governance, then your 50% or more than 50% of your AI governance are issues are addressed already. Concerns are already addressed at the core. So AI governance is going to take precedence over data governance, just as a talking point, as a discussion point, as a debatable thing. But we cannot forget that the data governance is actually the foundation for AI governance.
True. True. Now, there are different regulations that are coming up. There is the AU Act about, AI. What do you think about that? Is that enough to tackle the ethical concerns?
See, now my point of view is that if you bring in all the regulatory compliances and everything at the beginning of any technology evolution, then it will become a hindering thing. It will become a barrier. So I know of certain countries, with whom I was talking to some of the guys who are part of drafting, regulatory things, drafting some of the acts around that, but they do not want to rush because they want the companies to at least explore the technology, look at the risk of it. But definitely, the regulatory requirements, compliances, the acts need to come in because it's exactly like traffic rules. If you do not have the traffic rules, what happens? Yes, you can go speed, but you can make a lot of accidents, and we do not want that. That's the reason when we moved when we transformed from the on the bullock carts or the other carts to the cars, we had to bring in these traffic regulations, and those regulations are helping us protect the human being and protect the life, this precious life. And in the same way, the uh, acts or regulatory compliances around AI are going to protect the data, protect the person who is designing it, protect the organizations, protect the consumers, and it is going to address everybody's interest. So it is definitely going to help. But I think every country is waiting for some more evolution to happen, and they will definitely publish and they will definitely come out with the stuff.
Yes, indeed. We will see more and more. Or hopefully, there will be a uniform regulation about this, because otherwise, we will have countries that and
Yeah,
companies coming from some countries having an advantage, so to speak,
right, right.
but relatively, right? Because I think that
Yeah,
you're right, regulations are there, just like there are traffic signs.
yeah,
Still, common sense and our own moral judgment
yeah,
are
yeah.
fundamental. Regulations are not going
True.
to do all of it, just because, if someone walks in the middle of the street and they're not supposed to, we're not going
Yeah,
to say, well, by rule, I can just run over them. You're not going to do that. So I think
true.
it's a mix of both that needs
Absolutely.
to play.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what I'm liking these days is that the business ethics, people are focusing more on business ethics, and they are having lot of literacy programs in terms of ethical practices. Because, like I said, a regulatory thing can only challenge you, an act can only imposed on you, but if you do not practice it, if you do not adapt it, if you do not you know actually play your common sense or logic around that, nobody can protect you, nobody can protect.
Yeah. Are you optimistic?
I'm absolutely optimistic. Absolutely optimistic. I feel like uh, these are the brakes in any car that you are driving. If you remove the brakes, what will happen? You can go fast, but you can never stop. You cannot, save yourself. So the brakes are there to go fast. That is how I look at it. The regulations are there to do lot more good rather than protect you from the harmfulness of it. So that is how I see it. Again, if you can recall, PO, 20 years ago, the cyber security and all of that, everybody was trying to put in security around that. Yeah, internet is slow because it goes through it, but it is good because they want you to surf, they want you to go on to the internet freely without any concerns. That's the reason we had to bring in those cyber security laws and the other stuff.
Yeah. There's a question here from Carlo.
Yeah.
Who should define the ethics that an AI model should follow? Ethics are strictly related to cultural backgrounds and ideas, different from each individual. Also, how to be sure these AI ethics rules don't become censorship.
See, now ethics are defined at different levels. As I'm seeing now, and especially in the Middle East and Europe, is that there are ethics that are laid down by the organization. Whoever is modeling it, whoever is developing an AI application or a AI model, they are actually laying down the first foundation. and then whatever those ethics are that might 100% match with act or regulatory thing, but those are the ethics that are actually going to drive the entire team towards. So it's definitely not going to be a censorship, because I don't think any unreasonable ethical practices will be enforced on people, because if you do that, you are
Yeah,
actually trying to reduce the AI adoption.
absolutely. Well, Imad, it's been a pleasure. This is a crucial topic to discuss. I'm sure that there will be more talks in the breaks that we're about to have, and we should have more and more talks about artificial intelligence, because this is definitely an open discussion, one
Yeah,
that everyone should contribute to, whether we're talking about, fanboys of artificial intelligence or those that are more skeptical about it. In the end,
right.
hopefully, by creating this sort of platforms for discussion, we'll come with a solution that is truly beneficial for all human beings.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ultimately, we need to empower the human being. If we keep that objective, then I think we will have a win-win situation.
Perfect closing, Imad. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks, Pio. Great going.